you're feeling weary right now, if the world feels heavy or confusing or just plain exhausting, you are not alone. We all have seasons where we look at our lives, the rush, the routine, the unexpected pain, and we wonder, what is this all for? Is there any point to this struggle? We often turn to motivational messages that tell us to just be positive or push harder. But sometimes that advice falls flat. It doesn't acknowledge the real pain of a failing health, a broken relationship, a lost job, or just the deep, dull ache of disappointment. What if the most comforting, enduring wisdom isn't a simple fix, but a profound shift in perspective? And what if that wisdom is found in one of the most brutally honest books of the Bible, Ecclesiastes? This isn't a sugar-coated message. This is real talk, and it begins with a verse you might know, but maybe have never fully felt. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. And a time to mourn and a time to dance. Ecclesiastes 3:1-4. Your season is not a mistake. The world tells us that life should be a straight line upward. Success, happiness, growth. But Ecclesiastes tells us the truth. Life is a cycle of seasons. Winter is just as real and necessary as spring. If you are in a season of weeping, this book gives you divine permission to weep. It is your time to weep. If you are in a season of mourning, you are not failing. It is your time to mourn. If you are in a season where things feel like they are being torn down, it is your time for that. 2. The powerful, liberating message. Here is that your difficult season is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It is not proof that you have failed. It is simply a part of the human experience under the sun. A season that God Himself has ordained has its time and purpose. This is the first comfort, validation. Your pain is real, it is recognized by God, and it is not forever. It is a season. We drain ourselves trying to force a harvest in winter, or pretending we aren't hurting when we are. The enduring wisdom is to release our grip. It's to acknowledge that we are not the master of the universe's clock. God is. The book concludes with this simple, profound instruction. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Fearing God in this context is the key to enduring. It means trusting that the one who set the stars in motion and ordained the changing seasons also holds your life in His hands. It is shifting your trust from your own ability to control your life to His goodness and sovereignty, even when you can't see it. This is not a passive resignation. It is an active trust. It is saying, God, I don't understand this season of loss or sickness or waiting. It hurts, but I trust that you are in it with me and that you can even use it for a purpose I cannot see yet. Because there is a gift in every season. When you stop fighting the season you are in, a miraculous thing happens. You start to see the gifts within it. The teacher doesn't just tell us to endure miserably. Over and over he says, so I commend the enjoyment of life. Because there is nothing better for a person under the sun than to eat and drink and be glad. Then joy will accompany them in their toil all the days of the life God has given them under the sun. Ecclesiastes 8:15. This is the final piece of enduring wisdom. Even in the hard season, God provides daily gifts of grace. A warm cup of coffee, a friend who checks in, the beauty of a sunset, the comfort of His word. You don't have to wait for the season of dancing to find joy. You can find glimmers of His goodness right now, in the midst of your mourning. You can receive the gift of a moment's peace, the gift of strength for just today, the gift of a memory that makes you smile through the tears. So here are the seasons. Are you weeping, mourning, being torn down? Name it before God. Give yourself grace that this is where you are. It is your time for this. Trust the timer. Cling to the promise that the season will change. Your winter will not last forever. Plant your feet on the solid rock of God's character, not the shifting sand of your circumstances. Look for the daily gift. Ask God to open your eyes to one small thing you can be grateful for today. One moment of beauty, one source of comfort. Receive it as a token of His love for you in the midst of the storm. The meaning of life isn't found in avoiding the hard seasons. It's found in a wisdom that endures through all of them. It's the wisdom that knows that for everything there is a season, and that God is sovereign over every single one. Your struggle is real, but it is not the end of your story. Hold on, trust the timer, and find your comfort in the God whose love for you is the one thing that never, ever changes seas.